Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children is directed by Tim Burton and stars Asa Butterfield and Eva Green. And basically, this movie is about this kid played by Asa Butterfield named Jake, who is living a very boring, depressing life with neglectful parents. His life isn't any good. It's really lame. But he had a grandpa who was way more important to him than his actual parents were, and that grandpa passes away, but before he did pass away, he tells Jake stories about this school for peculiar children where all these kids are like mutants and X-Men and stuff. Jake just kind of thought his grandfather was crazy at first, but then he ends up stumbling upon this school, and that's where our adventure unfolds. So guys, I was looking forward to Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children because, for me, Tim Burton can sometimes do some really good movies. I mean, he's a strange person. He's a very strange person, and that shows in his movie. And sometimes that really works, and sometimes, oh boy, it really doesn't. But whenever I see a Tim Burton movie, I have hopes that it'll end up being good, like Edward Scissorhands or Beetlejuice. I'm hoping it could live up to that potential that Tim Burton used to show us back in the old day. And it also was kind of like a mix between Harry Potter and X-Men, and I was kind of like, yeah, that looks cool, I want to see that. And does it live up to Tim Burton greatness? Well, sort of. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, in my opinion, is not a great movie. This movie isn't anything amazing or great, but I did have quite a bit of enjoyment in this movie. I actually had a lot of fun, more than I thought I would. A lot of the reviews have been very mixed for many reasons. One of the reasons being that they say Jake's character isn't interesting. They say Asa Butterfield isn't interesting in this movie. They say that he's just boring and nobody cared about him and he asked too many questions. But for me, I really liked Asa Butterfield's character. I really liked him in the movie. I really did enjoy Jake. I understood where he was coming from. He's basically a kid that never had a good life, and his life is just boring, and he finds something better in life. He finds something to enjoy in life, which is the Home for Peculiar Children. But I think the character of Jake wasn't a problem for me, but my problem was that Asa Butterfield was really on and off in this movie. Asa Butterfield is an actor I really like. I really like him in Hugo and Ender's Game. And I was really excited when he was rumored as Spider-Man. I was like, yeah, that's a good choice. I mean, obviously that's not what happened. Tom Holland got the part. But I really do like Asa Butterfield as an actor. And in this movie, he's mostly good, but there are more than several scenes where he just felt really off. There are several scenes where he felt like maybe the direction wasn't given to him clearly, or he didn't know how to act in said scene. I didn't understand that because I usually like Asa Butterfield in every movie, and there are just several scenes in this movie where he felt very off. Like his acting wasn't good, and I was surprised to see that, and that's definitely one of my problems with the movie. I felt like Asa Butterfield could have done a much better job. But Eva Green definitely is one of the best performances in the movie. She was really good in this film. She was sort of this very stern, proper character. She was very enjoyable. I really like Eva Green as an actress, and in this movie is an exception because Eva Green is awesome in this movie. And a lot of people have been complaining about the characters, like the different peculiar children in this movie. I did like the girl that could like blow air and she floats up. She's like a balloon. I really did like her actually. I felt like her chemistry with Jake worked really well. And a lot of people have been complaining about her character, but I actually really liked her. There was other people like the girl that can do fire stuff and Enoch who are alright. But one of my other problems with this movie as well is that a lot of the characters that I wanted to know more about never got fleshed out, because really the only two characters they focus on are Jake and the girl who blows stuff. There's also this girl that can grow stuff with her hands. There's this girl that can pick stuff up. There's the kid from Mr. Holmes who has like bees inside of him, who ironically was allergic to bees in Mr. Holmes, so that was funny. There's also a really adorable little girl who has like a mouth on the back of her head. I wanted to see more of those characters. They were really interesting to me, and I really wanted to see more of them because they only really focus on Jake and the blowing girl. That's really all they focus on, and I wanted them to focus on the other characters in the movie because they don't have that much screen time, and it was a little bit upsetting. But definitely one of the things to really commend in this movie is that it's really interesting for most of the time. Like, the first act was very enjoyable. I was really getting into the story. I was really enjoying it. And Tim Burton always has visually stunning scenery in all his movies. That's something you can always expect from Tim Burton, even from his bad films. The visual style is fantastic, and it's really nice to look at. This world is just really cool. It's a very interesting world, and the whole thing with the time loops helped this differentiate itself from other young adult books. That's one of my favorite things about the movie. The world and the lore is just really interesting, and I want to know more about it. But like I said earlier, this isn't a great Tim Burton film. In my opinion, it's just good. It's not on the great level of movies like Edward Scissorhands or Beetlejuice or Batman. I already mentioned some of the flaws, so let me get into more of them. One of the things I really didn't get about this movie is Samuel L. Jackson. Like, I really like Samuel L. Jackson as an actor. The guy is a legend. He's so popular, he's awesome, he's Samuel L. Jackson. But in this movie, his villain was really weird. I really enjoyed Samuel L. Jackson's performance in this film, but his character didn't really work because his motivation was all weird. Like, he tried to explain it and I still didn't really understand. I was just like, what? And he's not even in it enough. He's barely in the movie. Basically, his motivation was that he wanted to eat Peculiar's eyeballs. That was it. And one of the things I don't like about this movie is that right when they get to the fantasy world, right when Jake gets there and starts discovering stuff and it gets really interesting, he just goes back to the main world for like 10 minutes for no reason. That part of the movie had like no point at all when he went back there. It was just really weird, and it stalled the movie a lot. It was 10 minutes of the movie that really screeched to a halt. And there are also some really lazy script points in this movie. There are several characters that I won't spoil that get shoved off. They get completely forgotten about, and it's like, how could you forget about them? They were a big part of the movie. This doesn't make sense. And there are just things that happen towards the end of this movie that really were just lazy script points, and I obviously can't spoil them, but they were just really lazy, and it was just like, really? That doesn't make sense. So overall, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children is a good but not great movie in my opinion. I really enjoyed some of the characters, I really enjoyed the fantasy world, I really enjoyed the visuals, I really enjoyed Danny Elfman's score. There are quite a few flaws with this movie, such as script points that don't make sense, and the villain being lame, and Asa Butterfield sometimes feeling off. But overall, I did enjoy Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, and I do hope Tim Burton directs the other two movies, and please don't split the last book into two. Just please don't. I'm gonna give Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children a B. I know this is getting really mixed reviews, but I did enjoy it. I don't think it's great, but I did enjoy this film, and I really hope that Tim Burton can direct the other two and give us some other good movies, and hopefully improve upon this one. So guys, if you like this video, be sure to like it, be sure to subscribe, be sure to comment your thoughts on Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children if you saw it, and be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And I'm gonna have a review for Deepwater Horizon coming pretty soon, I hope. I hope. Yay.